Holy Priesthood Volume 4 Ogdenkraut. The history and law of plural marriage. We have got to observe it. Plural marriage. It is an eternal principle, and was given by way of commandment, and not by way of instruction. August 1995. Preface. Many volumes have been written by both LDS and non-LDS authors on polygamy, or plural marriage. The subject has been approached from about every angle imaginable, but this book considers it from the aspect of being a law of the Holy Priesthood. Also included are brief histories about many different nations, cultures and individuals who have benefited from its practice. Polygamy has been lived by people throughout the world for a variety of reasons, and it's interesting to note that many benefits, other than spiritual, can be derived from such a lifestyle. However, as a doctrine of the priesthood, the primary considerations are the spiritual and temporal blessings that come from living the law in a righteous and godlike manner. Like any other principle or doctrine of the priesthood, plural marriage can be a blessing or a cursing, depending upon the manner in which it is used or abused. Unfortunately, since its restoration through Joseph Smith down to the present time, it has not been difficult to find countless incorrect examples of plural marriage, which is evidence of the fact that it is not an easy religious principle to live, nor is it intended for everyone. Since it is classified as one of the higher laws and doctrines of the priesthood, greater blessings are available for its adherents, and greater punishments for its abuse. Celestial plural marriage is an eternal law of the priesthood, revealed by God. And throughout history there are times when the church organization itself has adopted it as a tenet of their faith. However, because of the inability of the saints as a whole to righteously live this law, its acceptance is relatively short-lived within the ecclesiastical framework, and it once again becomes an individual decision. Though it can be discontinued as an accepted practice of the Church, it cannot be removed as an eternal law of the Holy Priesthood. A principle, ordinance, covenant, and law. Chapter 1 Introduction. The search for truth. Recognizing and honoring truth is far more important than abiding by traditions and customs. If one system has more evidence of truth and righteousness than another, then certainly we ought to condone it rather than condemn it. Our American Christian marriage system has taught us that monogamy is right, and polygamy is wrong. But as James Campbell said, these prejudices are neither natural nor inveterate, but that they have been induced by the corrupted Christianity of the medieval priesthood, and that they will be removed when Christian people become better informed. The Latter-day Saints, more than anyone else on earth, should study and understand the nature, history and truth pertaining to the laws of monogamy and polygamy. For them it can mean exaltation or damnation, because marriage is a law of the Holy Priesthood and a major factor in our religion. Plural marriage has been practiced in China, India, Middle East, Arabia, Africa, Indonesia, Australia, portions of Europe, among the Indians and Eskimos, as well as in the United States. In fact, it has been stated that people in 80% of all 853 cultures have at some time practiced plural marriage. See Ethnology, Murdoch and White, pages 329-369. They could see real and practical advantages to such a lifestyle, as the following excerpt illustrates. In societies that have a long tradition of polygyny, one man having 2 or more wives, women appear to welcome co-wives. A co-wife not only affords companionship and shares the labor, but her presence indicates that the family is sufficiently wealthy to have this luxury. Indeed, a principal function of polygyny is to increase the wealth of the family, and thereby its social importance. Moreover, where labor is scarce, co-wives may increase the wealth of the family. For example, among the Blackfoot Indians, polygyny increased with the transition of fur trading from beaver to buffalo. Tanning the buffalo skins was the exclusive labor of women, and the more wives a man had, the greater his financial potential. Polygyny also absorbs an excess of marriageable women, particularly in instances where wars have decimated the male population. In addition, it allows older men to marry youthful and attractive younger women. In ancient times, polygyny was practiced in Egypt, among the Hebrews, in Arabia, and in Ireland, as it was, until modern times, in China and Japan, in the form of concubinage. In the societies of Oceania, plural marriages were legal, but were common only among the most affluent. Encyclopedia Americana, 1995 ed. 22, 365. Whether we base our investigation on the laws of God, which is the purest form of truth, or on the laws of nature, these two sources alone should be proof enough to convince us of what is closest to the truth. On the other hand, traditions and customs are the worst sources of truth, even though they are the most popular. Both the laws of God and laws of nature often differ materially from civil, social and federal laws. The former are consistent and infallible. The latter are often conflicting, confusing, altered, amended, or repealed. This is nowhere more noticeable than regarding the laws pertaining to marriage. Here in the Western world we have inherited the monogamous marriage system with very little study into its origins, practice, or disadvantages. We know even less about polygamy. Most information coming from a few Bible stories, and a little from the Eastern nations, and most of that is received with prejudice and contempt. In the spirit of fair play, both sides of history should be studied with an unbiased and inquiring mind, with the object of learning truth. Matrimony, and the civil and moral laws pertaining to it, have historically been complex and varied. There are also many forms of marriage lifestyles, such as monogamy, celibacy, polygamy, polygyny, bigamy, polyandry, common law, concubinage, and more recently same-sex. Numerous moral deviations exist as to the union of the sexes, such as fornication, adultery, prostitution, homosexuality, sodomy, etc. Because there are so many marriage and sexual variations, it is important for us to learn how God views marriage and the proper matrimonial relationships between man and woman. So let's start at the beginning. Chapter 2: Adam and Eve. The Garden of Eden. The marriage system among the nations should be determined according to the laws of God, not by men in government. Since the days of the Garden of Eden, man was given the power and responsibility to govern his household. His home is his castle, and he is king. From Mother Eve to the modern-day career girl, woman has been instructed that she is not to act in a governing role in the marriage relationship. A properly organized family cannot have two heads,